in phenomenon-based learning, it's pupils generally collaboratively learn, and they can make their own choices for learning. And also it's one phenomenon that is under, you can look the one phenomenon from different directions. That is generally the idea of phenomenon-based learning. And I think that this producer-based learning we made in the sustainable development module is one version of phenomenon-based learning. It's a very group-based learning, and it is important that pupils can make their own choices for learning and be active participants in learning. Even more freedom was during the collaborative study module, as their students could pick, it was like a learning process. At the beginning, pupils collaborating in groups were able to choose on what product they would make inquiry and search for information. Those were different kind of objects like football or Nutella or things like that were interesting for the pupils. And then they search for information about that product, how it is produced. And also pupils were able, they made a media product on how this life cycle of this product went. And they were able to choose if they wanted to do a movie or make a Minecraft video or a slideshow or a different kind of media products. So in that, pupils had a lot of possibilities to make choices for their learning. The collaborative learning module was many times more complex, both for the pupils, as they had different kind of challenges in different part of the learning process, and also for collecting the data, because pupils didn't use that much of the learning management system as it was planned to be used. And more perhaps they relied on their group as they were doing their task in collaboration. The data collected wasn't that representative, so teachers didn't that much use the data, and I think that more they relied on what they see, what was happening in the classroom. When teachers find out that pupils didn't use that much the learning management system to regulate their learning, they at least the starts of the lessons got more like teacher-centered. So the teachers guided more students than the learning management system in this collaborative process. For example, they didn't use the kind of visualization that told their whole progress. They just followed their progress in those themes that were going on, not the whole study module. But pupils were very positive about using learning analytics to help them to regulate their learning. I think that in collaborative processes, the learning design is more challenging, and you really need to think the whole learning design, like what you are doing in the classroom as a teacher, like how are you starting your lessons and stuff like that. And what do pupils do in the learning management system? And if you want to use the kind of the data that comes from the learning management system, you also need to consider that when doing those tasks or assignments of different kind of things to the learning management system. One thing that seemed to work was an assignment where groups needed to make a checklist So where there were different kind of things that should have been done during the process, and that would kind of be next things to do, and pupils checked if they had done it and marked it as checked if they had done it. And I think that was one thing that helped a lot of groups to understand that they checked that if we have done these things already and what is to be done next, so they could collaboratively plan their process. When pupils learn collaboratively, they have different kind of roles. So, for example, one might be just writing things down, and one might be just looking from the information, and one might check the instructions for the learning management system. So, designing the learning design for the learning management system in collaborative processes is kind of a challenge.